All right, guys, today I want to talk about cell packs. I've had several questions about how I build my cell packs. These are the cell packs out of my portable PowerPack here. I had 3 cell packs total, and these have 80 cells each. And so basically what we're looking at is an 80 P3S. So we have 80 in parallel, so each of these packs have parallel cells in them, and then I put 3 of them together in a series so that they can create the desired voltage. Now the problem I had when I first started working with these is it wasn't sufficient, mainly because my inverter required anywhere between 10 to 15.5 volts to function. And with a 3S scenario, you only come up with 11.1 nominal voltage. So it wasn't, the max voltage was 12 volts. And what ended up happening is anytime I would go and use my PowerPack, I could use it for a set period of time, but the inverter didn't like it. After, I could probably do 2 or 3 hours of work with it, just running like my concrete mixer. You've seen videos on that, or it's in my channel. If you haven't seen it, you can see my concrete mixer. And that worked out well, but if I wanted to run for longer periods of time or be able to at least have enough juice to start like a table saw, it was lacking. It couldn't do it. I could run a shop vac, that wasn't a big deal, but to be able to do a full-on table saw, I couldn't do it. So I need to upgrade this. I need to change it. And I've done some research, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build out, still using an 80 scenario, but I'm going to build an 80 parallel, just like I have here, just like I had previously. This is an 80, it's just a different format. So this one's more of a brick, and this is a long brick. But it's the same number of cells, and I'm going to do 4 of them. So it's going to actually be a 4S instead of a 3S. Now what does that mean? What's the difference there? Well, my nominal voltage is going to change to 14.8 volts. Now my inverter can handle up to 15.5. My max voltage, if I drive these cells all the way up to max voltage, it's going to be 16.8. That's too high for my inverter, which is fine by me, because what I'm going to be doing is actually bringing down, I want to not do a full charge on my cells anyways, because a full charge is hard on the cells. So I only want to run them about 90%. So if I run them, if I do a charge up to about 15.4, which is just right at the nominal, it's enough for my inverter to just really like it and be able to function well, and it's not going to stress the cells over time. So that's my goal, is I'm going to change my 80 P4S or 80 P3S to an 80 P4S, and that'll increase my my ability to have more voltage. So what it's going to work out to be is the old pack had 240 cells total, and that was my nominal 11.1 volts, and that gave me roughly 2 kilowatts of power. With the new scenario that I'm going to build out, it's going to require 320 cells, an increase of 80 cells because I'm adding another pack. But my kilowatt hours is only going to go up to 2.6. So I have 2.6 kilowatt hours of available power. I will probably shoot some video as I'm building that so you can participate in that. But what I want to focus on today is how I came up with the different cell configurations, the 3S, 4S, 5S, 5P, 6P, however you want to do it, and what it kind of means to figure out your voltage, so you know how to break that down, maybe learn a little bit there. And there's a lot of other videos on it, but this is kind of my way of thinking, and I just want to share that with you. So let's talk about that for a minute. Okay, I have some other examples of some cell configurations. So what I want to start with is I have this small pack. This small pack consists of basically 9 cells. And the 9 cells are in a configuration of 3 in series, or actually 3 in parallel, so all the positives are on one side, and over here the positives are on this side, and the positives are here. So we'll have 3 in parallel, and then it's a series of 3. Okay, so this battery is going to give me 11.1 nominal voltage. So when it's built out, it's 11.1. And I'll show you how to configure the pack to make sure that you get good consistency when you start to build out your larger pack sets. So that is a 3x3. So it's a 3P by 3S. This is another example of a 3P4S. And the 3P4S is going to increase my voltage. This is going to be a 14.8 nominal voltage, top voltage of 16.8. All right, then I have another one. This is another kit. I'm going to show you these. This is another kit that I built. It's a small version of this, but it doesn't have an inverter in it. But it does have some USB ports and, you know, a 12 volt out. And right now, this one here is currently charged at 14.3. This pack is a 8P4S. So what I have, it's kind of hard to see, but as you look at the cells, they're in bricks of 4. So you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, and double stacked, so it's double high. That is 1 brick, and then this over here, it's still in the same block, but it's going to be another brick. So you have 8 cells 4 times. So you have 8 cells 4 times, which gives you your 8P4S. This is very handy because I can actually tote this around, and what I built it for was going back to emergency preparedness stuff. I wanted to have the ability to have a heat blanket like those 12 volt blankets, and I'll show you this later on as I show you how I built this and then how it interacts with the blanket. But it allows you to, you get about 8 hours of use on this blanket that you can lay on you. So if it's freezing cold outside, you can have a pack that'll allow you to stay warm. So this guy here is actually going to be a smaller kit. Same principle, but I'm making smaller and smaller because I want them more portable. So this is going to be another one of those kits, but it's going to have minimal, it's going to have a little less capacity, but it's going to be a lot more portable. You can throw this in a backpack and, you know, use it overnight or use it in an emergency. It's great to have in a car. So if you need a heat blanket or if you need to have another source of electricity, you can have it. And these things are really nice. And technically, I could drive my inverter with it. So it just wouldn't last very long because I don't have the mass capacity like I have in these bricks. So this will work out pretty cool. And we'll work on that later. Let's jump into the computer and I'll show you how I lay out those cell packs, and I can actually make a determination of the voltage and how the cells are aligned in each of the different cell groupings. Remember, this would be 3 different groupings. I just put it in one pack. I could technically pull these out and have them separately like I've done the larger ones. But it'll give you an idea. So let's jump into it and I'll show you how that works. All right, guys, so what I want to do here is actually build out a small battery pack. One of the ways that I had to use pictures to be able to understand this, and you can look here on my screen, what you're looking at is a battery in parallel is positive to positive. So it would go positive to positive to positive to positive, and that's in parallel. And we're going to do that here, positive to positive, 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 positive. So we're doing, this is our parallel or our P. So it's going to be a 5P. And so if I come into this, my spreadsheet here, I just put in the 5, and then it wants to know the number of rows. So when you get into bigger packs, you know, like these others, this other big pack, you would have, because this is all going to be, this is an 80. So we have 80 cells, and they're all going to be in parallel, meaning that all the positives will be connected. Well, I'm going to have, so number of rows and the number of cells in each row. And you can see here in the spreadsheet, if I was doing an 80, so if I did an 80 cell pack, and it's going to have 10 rows, actually there's 10 this way and 8 deep, I just put in the 10 here, and it automatically tells me that it's going to need to be 8 rows deep. So it'll actually do some calculations for me. And part of that is so that when when I try to get it to fit. Another example is when I have something like this cell kit and I'm trying to figure out how I can get these cells to fit in here. I'll do all sorts of different ways. I'll build out configurations and try to stick them in, and how does it, how's the lid close, and how do all the electronics come together. And it allows me to build that, but then I can come in here and say, okay, this is how I want it. What's it going to come out to be? All right, hopefully that helps. So let's look at the spreadsheet. So when we're in here, we're going to do a 5 in parallel. So we're going to do these 5 here in parallel, these 5 are in parallel, these 5, and these 5. And then if you look down into this section here, this automatically calculates out, we're going to do a 4 in series. So we're going to go positive to negative. So all the positives and negatives. So these will actually be turned over and they'll be negatives. And so this positive will touch this negative. The flow, so it'll go up through here and then back up and then down. And so that 4 in series gives me the ability to have 16.8 volts max at 14.8 volts nominal. So hopefully that makes sense. We're going to go ahead and build this out and you can see how I configure it. Now then, what do you need to know? Well, first of all, you need to know kind of your size. Like I've done here, we're going to build just this small pack. And part of that is we need to have the cells processed. So if you need to know how to process cells or see how I do processing, you can refer to the video somewhere up here. And you can see that. There's also other videos inside that video where others have done cell processing. So it's kind of my way. So let's take a look at my costs. Some of this down here, one of the things that I've done is try to keep track of my costs as I buy each cell. What does it come down to for cost? And right now I'm running about $1.09. So this cell pack here cost me $21, $22. Okay, enough of that. Let's jump into how we actually come up with this. So what you need is your basic design, how the layout's going to be, so you know your cells in parallel, and then how many you're going to have in series, how many rows. Or if you're going to do them in separate kits, even like this, where it's one big battery, and you're going to put multiples. So the first thing I'm going to need to know is every single one of these milliamps. I build out my packs using one of 2 websites. So I've used this a lot, Repacker. Repacker gives me the ability to figure out which cells need to go into which column together to get the best capacity. So I want to be able to utilize the most. The problem is if I go in here with a bunch of cells that are right at 2000, or I got some 1900s and I put those all in one line, and then I put 2000s in the next and 2500s in the next, the amount of volume that each one of them holds is not complete. And so you can run into some issues of not having a good balance. Now, yeah, you could probably throw into a large pack like this and be really quick and build it out. But when I'm building multiple packs, I like to, or cell packs, which is what these 5 cells are going to become as a cell pack, I want to make sure that they have good capacity and that the capacity between each of those is consistent. So I use this website. So to have that, I needed to gather every single one of these cells, what the milliamp hours was. And I did that already. Oh, another site that I use is DIY Powerwalls. They have the same algorithm in here, and it's under Cell Packer. I'll put links to both of these sites in the description below. So what I did is I pulled in a list of all of the milliamp hours that are in these cells right here. So I'm just going to copy this list. We'll use DIY's Powerwall. So we come in here, and what I needed to declare is all of those cells. So I put my cells in, immediately it comes up with an error saying, how many cells in series, how many in parallel? Well, what we're going to do is 5 in parallel, and then we're going to have 4 in series. And all the error messages have gone away. If I had the wrong number, if I put in like a 6, it's telling me, you only have 20 cells, you need 30 to do this. So you can kind of see that there's a shortcoming there. So let's put in 4 again, and it likes it. I use this top item here, which allows me to have the capacity to look at each of the cell packs, and you'll see that when it actually builds the packs out for me. So I'll say generate pack. So now I have each of my different cell packs. There should be, so we're going to do 4 of them, and they're in packs of 5. So I have 5 cells in each row. And so if you look at the capacity difference, this is where it really pays off. So each one of these is running right at about 10 amp hours. So this is 10 amp hours, 10 amp hours, 10 amp hours, 10 amp hours. And then right below it, you see the variance between them. This one here is a +1, and this one here is my 0 pack. This is kind of like the baseline pack that we're going to work from. And then this one here is a +1, this one's a -1, and this one also is a 0. Now what's interesting about this is, yeah, you're saying, well, it's 1 off, or, you know, a delta of 2, but that is a delta of 2 in the milliamps. So this is dang close. These are going to be really, really, really close. If you wanted to pull this into a spreadsheet, they actually give you the numbers in columns. So I have each of the columns, and I can pull that into a spreadsheet if I wanted to do that. All we're going to do here is I'm going to pull, we're going to call this, this will be 1, 2, 3, 4 going across, and then I'm just going to look at each of these. This one here is 2027. So we'll do a couple of these together, and then I'll fast forward through this. So that is going to be in, and we're going to do this 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's going to be in row 2. So that one's 2. Get out of there. And this one here is going to be 2126. 2126 is in the first row. I'm going to actually go face down on that one. Get out of there. This one here is 2059. 2059 is in the second row. And then I have a 2001, that's in the first row. And then I have a 2013. The 2013 is in number 3. So it's going to also go face down. This one here is 2039, third row. So that's going to go face down. And this is 2028, fourth. So we're going to go up on that one. Just so on and so forth, you get the idea. And then I'll finish building this out, and I'll fast forward through it, and then we'll do a review. 73, 20, 69, 20, 89. All right, so there you have it. We've built out this small pack running it at 5P 4S, and this will be a 14.8 volt battery pack. Now, when I come back to solder it, which I'll cover soldering later, but I actually solder my cells. I know people have said it's not safe and they'd rather spot weld. If you want to spot weld, you can do that. I solder just because I've had really good success with it. It works well. I have not had any issues with any of my solders, or any of the cells getting hot. Plus, I like having the fuses in there, and you'll see that as we get into that part of building out these packs. One of the other things I do that I'm not going to do right now is I like to reskin mine. So you'll see that I clean them up a little bit, and I brand them, and I put a lot of demographic information on. I'll cover that later, but this is how I build my packs, and that's how I come up with each of these different configurations for large packs and small packs. Okay, I hope the information I provided in this video was helpful. If you like what you saw, please subscribe below, and please share with your friends, and come back frequently. If you have any questions or comments about what you saw in this video, please leave them in the comments below, and I'll gladly get back to you. Thanks for watching.